Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Bitcoin News Show. We got a bunch of topics today, a bunch of topics to talk about. Lots of stuff happening this week. We got a few guests coming in tonight to talk to us about Bitcoin. Also, if you guys want to join in, ask questions, please do. It's pretty much an open forum most of the time. Anybody can join in. We try to be here every Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific. So if you guys want to mark that on your calendars, we're always here. Also, we're available in the World Crypto Net chat room. So you guys want to talk to us, we're always hanging out in there talking about Bitcoin. So before we actually get into the topics this week, I actually wanted to give a bit of a shout out to Chris Ellis because Chris Ellis is, I don't know if maybe if you follow the crypto community, you'll know who he is, but actually Chris Ellis has been around for a long time. He's had a number of contributions to the crypto community over the years. And right now he's actually fallen ill. And so he's really in need of some medical assistance with some help, some financial help with the medical assistance. And we're trying to do a fundraising campaign for him. So he's actually got a couple of different things. He's got like an Indiegogo thing going, and he's got his own website going. So the link to his website is going to be saveellis.org. So let me type that in there to the chat right now. And all of the stuff, all these links, as usual, are always available in our show notes, which are always at the on the YouTube channel and as well as in the chat room here on Blab. And so he's got a little bit of funding on there right now, but he just launched it today. And this guy, I mean, I'm just going to read a couple of his accomplishments because, I mean, he's done so much. But, I mean, he pretty much pioneered the cryptocurrency community and tipping with Feathercoin. He introduced the blockchain ID as an open source project, returning identity technology to the people with the World Citizen Project. He explains the philosophy behind Bitcoin and how it can change the world. And he does that at the World Crypto Network, which him and Thomas together created, Mad Bitcoins. And so, that's actually how I found these guys, is on the World Crypto Network. I was always a fan and watching them from the sidelines and such, but I just kept digging into the news and kept digging into Bitcoin. And, I found myself wanting to actually contribute a little bit since the amount of news and knowledge that I've taken in. I want to contribute and give it back to the community. So if you guys want to help him out, please visit saveellis.org, or you could follow him on Twitter at Mr. Chris Ellis. He, of course, is also has the full node project going on right now. So he's got the campaign that he's helping Bitcoin with, and he's got the campaign to help himself with. So he, of course, launched the campaign to help Bitcoin with first. So this is a guy who's definitely dedicated to the crypto community, and he's really giving his life at this point to Bitcoin and the community, because he's said it several times. He'll die before he'll ever stop. Helping the community. So definitely check that out, saveellis.org, and get on that, guys. And if you got any questions about that, just hit him up, or else you'll find me on Twitter at the1vortex. So first, I just want to go around just real quick, just saying if you guys can just say one quick thing about Ellis, about how you know about him and what you guys think about him real quick. First, I'll just start out with Bitcoin Art Gallery. Anything to say on Chris Ellis' campaign?
Yeah, sure. Way back in the day, when I started looking around for Bitcoin news, I found very few people questioning anything, or much less asking me to question anything. And then I came across the World Crypto Network, and they were having random guests on and discussing whatever randomly was in the news. And he was a critical voice, or a voice of critical thinking, asking me to think critically about things, and I really appreciate that. Yeah, that's why I started following him.
I agree. Yeah, the guy, man, when he speaks, I mean, he definitely knows his philosophy. So when he speaks, he breaks down words. I mean, he actually breaks down the definition of words for you, so you can really understand what he's talking about. I mean, most people don't. You really know what words are coming out of their mouth, And so when Chris Ellis speaks, make no mistake, every single word is chosen with care, and he definitely explains words, their actual Latin meanings and everything, just to make sure you fully get it. But William, Electricity Hacker, do you have anything to say about Chris Ellis?
Yeah, first of all, we don't know what's causing his illness, and I'm suspecting maybe it's poisoning. I know what he's working on is actually something that's very fascinating. I've only been reading about it for a couple of minutes now, but this blockchain ID
Oh yeah.
That sounds like essentially like a internet passport, and it could eventually expand. If this type of work continues, if we find new volunteers to carry on his torch, I mean, this could literally revolutionize the way that nation states view citizens, because it the same way that decentralization of currency is the theme of Bitcoin, with the decentralization of personal identification. That would be like the powers that be would just that's like one of their foundational things, right?
It's true. I mean, there are two main things, right? Power to print money and power to create identity. That's their two. That's the government's and the bank's two big powers. So yeah, I mean, remember his that blockchain ID. I don't know if you know, but that actually is the foundation of BitNation.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is. Can you go into a little more?
Yeah, BitNation. Yeah, you can Google it. BitNation. It's basically an effort to do just what you just said right there. So if you haven't heard about it, I would definitely recommend checking it out. They're not really going like down the road that I think Chris Ellis would wish, but hey, it's a start. And I tell you what, they're doing some pretty fascinating stuff. So definitely check that out. Bitnation.org. Pretty interesting site to check out. So very cool. Thanks for the info. We appreciate that, William. Jake, do you have anything to say real quick about Chris Ellis?
Oh yeah, first of all, I agree with the BitNation stuff. It's really interesting and really good for the community building. But for Chris Ellis, I think he's a beautiful human being, and he's done a lot for the Bitcoin community, driving the community orientation in the Bitcoin scene. So I really hope that people would help a bit with the crowdfunding for the Ellis project.
For sure, yeah, he's not even.
That's
and one of the things about having an ID associated with Bitcoin, it's a double-edged sword.
Right.
On the one hand, it really cuts down on all the trafficking.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, which some people like, some people don't. But on the other hand, it actually legitimizes the currency, because now you've got less nefarious things happening, and it's like, okay, we've got an identity associated with that person, and therefore it's a little bit more trustworthy. And as opposed to just making an account and saying, hey, dump money into my Bitcoin wallet, and you don't know if they're really who they say they are. So it changes a lot of things.
Definitely, I agree. It's really going to be the foundation. Blockchain. It's going to be one of the really one of the first pillars that blockchain is just going to kill it with, I think. Besides, of course, being able to send value instantaneously, that's part of the public ledger stuff. Being able to create your own sovereign identity, and that's going to be some very important stuff in the future. So
yeah,
very cool. And and his campaign, like, he's not even asking for a whole lot of money. I mean, he's like saying basically, I think his goal is to raise $3,500. So if 35 people donate $100, he's done. If he was raising 5,000, it would be $50. It would be just 50 people donating $100. So he really is not asking for much, and I really think that the community can give back to what he's done. I mean, his recent efforts, just with the full node project alone, has kind of kickstarted the whole community of trying to fix this issue of not having enough nodes on the Bitcoin network. So I mean, you see all the big players now starting to come in, and so I really can't help but say that Chris Ellis had a huge effort in that. So yet again, one of his accomplishments in the community. So with that aside, guys.
Yeah, and if if there is any holistic or traditional or the how do you say it, old school medicine men out there, please give some advice on the Twitter or forum accounts.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I know a guy who knows a guy who is a Nobel laureate in medicine. So I'll try and reach out to some of my people and see what
that'd
happens.
be great, man. We would love it. We appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Because that stuff helps a lot. I mean, because what it is his problem is something to do with the brain, and that's the scariest kind of problem to have. So well, hopefully that stuff can help out with energy and however it does, because he technically doesn't even know what the actual thing is yet, what the problem is yet, and so we're just trying to get to that point. So hopefully we can get to there. So thanks again, guys, for commenting on that. That was great. Everybody check out saveellis.org. So we can move on here to the first topic. Let me paste it in. Here we go. Let's see here, facing into the chat. And we got first topic is Goldman Sachs is in the eye of the campaign storm. So the reason why I wanted to bring this up a little bit is so people can really kind of see like how deep banks and like Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan and such, these type of things, how deep they really are into the campaign funding and how deep they really are, how far they really got their fingers into this type of stuff. And so, because I don't think most people realize these types of things. And so I think this article is one of these articles that can really help people kind of look at the facts really and see that, look, you can see how much money these people are getting from this particular person. For example, Hillary Clinton getting $675,000 in just speaking fees from Goldman Sachs and stuff. And when you look at this kind of stuff, you can,
speaking fee really is? It's a bribe.
Yeah, exactly.
You hear someone say, "Oh, I got a speaking fee," it's a bribe, essentially.
Exactly. So, Bitcoin Art Gallery, let me hear your thoughts on this article first, if you can, and then we'll move on to the next person.
My thought about how the banks conduct themselves normally.
No, well, yeah, basically, yeah. Your thoughts on
this
this
is
article?
Normal business for them, right?
Right.
This is what they do. I'm confused if anyone thought they were doing something different.
Well, a lot of people don't. A lot of people think they're doing something different.
Okay.
We still have a lot of people to convince that the banks, are running these types of campaigns, are running kind of the behind the scenes.
I guess so. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure that I am vastly unqualified to bring the amount of pain that the Bitcoin community feels when they read this sort of stuff. This is the whole point of Bitcoin. This is the whole point of the entire cryptocurrency, whatever crypto you're into, decentralizing stuff, because this is just upsetting. It's just upsetting when you see it. People, I guess, try to forget about it or whatever, but how anyone could be voting for someone who has been handed $1 million from the banks and not think that that's going to influence them. And she's been handed much more than that, right?
Oh yeah, that was just for one campaign run or something like that from Goldman Sachs. It doesn't say how long, but I would assume that it's less than a year.
Yeah. I guess this is just information that needs to be spread around. I have no other thoughts about it. It's just too.
Yeah, see that was one of the points I wanted to do. That's one of the things I wanted to do was just help get this information out there, because sure, it can be on this one website and stuff, but I want people talking about this. I want people realizing that where the actual money comes from. I want people realizing who's actually running the show, who's actually running the campaigns, and people need to realize this kind of stuff. And so this is just some more information, some more facts about that, because for anybody who thinks otherwise, the facts are right there in the article. So William, want to give your thoughts on this article, please?
Yeah. So you're talking about how Goldman Sachs essentially gives money to these politicians, right? And the scary thing about that is, like, these politicians, do they then maybe consider that they need to repay them some way, right? Because money isn't free necessarily.
Right.
So that's the one thing that I wanted to bring up. And then the other thing that's actually interesting, I was looking at Goldman Sachs history, and it turns out that a lot of the money that they get actually comes from the Federal Reserve. So for quantitative easing. So it's kind of a funny dichotomy, right? You give money to politicians, and then you ask the Federal Reserve, who is appointed by politicians a lot of times, right? The head of the Federal Reserve is usually appointed by a politician. And then you ask the politician for money. So it's like a little circle there. It's a little group dynamics. So that's something that's interesting when you look at because a lot of people don't really know what Goldman Sachs does. I mean, they know that they have money, they know that they do investing, but they don't know where does this money come from.
Exactly. Yeah, most people don't know, and so this is part of this information I want to get out there, because you see, the fact of the matter is that the closer you are to the creation of the money, which means the closer you are to the Federal Reserve, the closer you are to the more money you have. Basically, the closer you are to the money, the more money you have. So when you get this close, when you're a big bank like J.P. Morgan and these types of things, and Goldman Sachs, you are very close to the money creation. In fact, you are creating money essentially as a bank. And so this is what you get. You essentially create enough so that you can put all of the regulators, all of the politicians, right in your pocket. And I think that people need to know about this, because it's just so apparent to us and the community, at the Bitcoin community at this point, that it's almost appalling to us that that the regular people don't understand this and don't know this. And so we just want to get this out to as many people as we can.
Well, I mean, that's how it works. If people did know about it, then the system wouldn't work.
Yep, for sure. And so we're just trying to bring more information, more of that into the light. Is the goal. So Ninjake, do you have any comments on this article?
Yeah, I'm pretty much along the lines with Bitcoin Art Gallery and Electricity Hacker, that if people realize that they have the power to affect the society or their community, they can have really big effects. So I'm along the lines with these guys, so I don't have anything to add.
So just understand, people. When you're transacting in the U.S. dollar, when you're transacting in this war currency, you're backing up behavior like this. You're backing up behavior like money creation and the money giving handed to these politicians, so that they can essentially do whatever they want, so that they can buy off the regulators, so that they can pass whatever laws they want, and the end result is a monopoly. We haven't had actual free market in this country in a long time, specifically not in Wall Street, specifically not in finance. They've locked that stuff down in regulations to the point to where you need $100,000 for a money transmitter license and things like this. And yes, of course, there's reasons for this. We want to make sure that there's no money laundering. But the fact of the matter is that you want to know how many people money laundering laws have actually caught money laundering? Zero. It just doesn't work. It's just guess how many terrorists the completely illegal NSA spying program has caught. Zero. So people need to be aware that this is not how you go about this stuff. Just completely trying to destroy people's privacy for one end goal is not the way to go. So this is what the people in the Bitcoin community think, and this is what we want people to understand. So not much else to say about that. We can move on to the next article. Good old Goldman Sachs, though, just once again,
well, I also want to bring up, you mentioned something interesting.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just saying it's funny. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you mentioned this is the way the people in the Bitcoin community think. One of the things about a decentralized currency is that there's many forms of thought across the board. So it's like, every person is unique, and we may have a similarity in currency, but the ideas are so diverse that it's strange. There's uniformity, but at the same time, there's a total lack of conformity. So it's not necessarily something that you can just say, oh yeah, this is what we think. This is.
Oh, okay, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I just think that I think that the centralized creation of money is the main thing that every Bitcoin, that every crypto person is against.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Well, it's actually, the cool thing about that is you don't even have to necessarily disagree or agree with them, as long as you understand the value of your investment.
Right? Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about Bitcoin. It's just completely opt-in, right? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, exactly. Just opt-in. It's complete. That's what's amazing about Bitcoin, is that it's a completely volunteer revolution. Like, it's a completely voluntary revolution, and all you have to do to be a part of it, and to take power away from the Federal Reserve and these central banks, is just use Bitcoin. Just use it a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's simple. Instead of the next time you're going to buy something on Amazon, maybe buy some Bitcoin and try Purse.io. It's obviously these types of things aren't really what Bitcoin was meant for. But these little shortcuts can help out somebody in the first world out as well. But obviously Bitcoin is going to really take off for the other 6 billion first. And that's part of really what excites me is getting these people, getting the next billion people on the internet onto Bitcoin, so that we can have a complete global financial system, open financial system. So very cool. So
one last thing about Goldman Sachs. Sure, actually, they are terrified of Bitcoin. They may not be very public about it, but I've seen some things where they're essentially attempting to patent blockchain, which is it's stupid. But it shows that they are very impressed and they see the future. They see the writing on the wall.
It's going to be hilarious for them trying to execute that patent, right? Because Bitcoin has been going for 7 years, and so what are you going to say? Your patent didn't get patented until what? You know, you'd have to change their date, right, in order to.
I mean, it was a total Hail Mary.
Yeah. Hilarious. Yeah, I agree. I think that is a Hail Mary. I mean, I wish I could see the internal documents, dude, of Goldman Sachs and these other banks, because I'm quite sure that they are freaking terrified. Because again, we've seen this all before, right? We've seen what happened when all the telcos got together to try to beat TCP/IP and this stuff before. It's just not gonna happen. So, but it's fascinating to watch, and you know, just good old Goldman Sachs is just there to in the news to just give us one more twitch in the eye. So we'll see what we can do. We'll move on to the next article here. And this one is an important one too. Let me see, paste it in. So basically this one says, don't listen to the mainstream media on Bitcoin or blockchain. You know, that's actually a huge thing I wanted to bring up. And basically that's the whole kind of the main reason why I'm here. And I think why a lot of us are here on Blab and here on YouTube and here trying to get the word out about Bitcoin, because at the end of the day, the mainstream media is going to get things terribly wrong most of the time. And here's what's funny is that a lot of the people actually know the truth, you know, but they're forced to read off the prompters. This is a centralized media system. The media system, as many people know, is completely bought and owned by only a few companies and run by a very select few. So they really don't have the ability to speak out. But the end result is that we have this terrible, terrible reporting on Bitcoin from CNBC to Bloomberg to so on and so forth. They're getting better, but it's just one terrible mistake after another. So Bitcoin Art Gallery, I just want to tell me what do you think on what are your opinions and thoughts on this article about people should avoid the mainstream media for anything Bitcoin and blockchain?
I'm gonna count. I actually will disagree with this a little bit.
Okay, cool.
I think the Bitcoiners should follow the mainstream media because I've watched people publish articles that reached a lot of people with non-factual statements that the reporter, you know, wasn't educated enough to know that, and it gets pointed out and then it gets corrected. So there's a certain problem if we stop paying attention to them, that then they'll just say whatever, and there's going to be no one to point out in the comments, for example, something that is true. I guess.
Very true. Got to stay vigilant.
So do you think we could sue them for slander? I mean, if they.
That's the beautiful thing about Bitcoin, right? There's no central thing to be able to make some kind of case or suit against, right? So it goes both ways. You can't sue Bitcoin, but Bitcoin can't sue anybody else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Right. So, sorry. Continue thoughts. Bitcoin Art Gallery.
I have the Bloomberg Bitcoin in my Feedly, and you know, it's under my little Bitcoin tab for all my Bitcoin news, and it's just one of the news sources. I enjoy some of their interviews, and when they really do talk about it, I think the role of media has changed because they're so slow and inaccurate and like dinosaurs, right? I mean, like the banks, they're dinosaurs of a previous age. They're institutions that have, you know, just this massive level of influence without any real justification of it. Like I'd love Fox News or CNN or one of those guys to have to start now in this day and age and do what they did before, because they couldn't cut it. There's no way they couldn't cut it. But we can't totally ignore them. We have to be somewhat aware of what they're saying, just so we understand what the masses are being spoon fed to them. But of course, yeah, no. If you're reading anything, in fact, if you should take everything you hear in Bitcoin with an absolute grain of salt, because the only thing that matters is the code. Everything else around that is just talking, right? It's just rumors or gossip or whatever. The code and even people's opinions about the code could be gossipy and not true and rumors and stuff. So unless you're going to follow the code, I wouldn't take any of them seriously. No, I mean, yeah.
Sure.
I think everyone understands what I'm talking about. I don't have a really good way to say this.
Yeah, I think I agree. We have to definitely keep on them and stay vigilant, but definitely don't take their word without without doing your research yourself, because more than likely they're just going to be wrong. They don't get paid to get details accurate; they just get paid to talk. So, William, what are your thoughts on this article?
Yeah, I think it's really good to point out that mainstream media doesn't know their shit half the time. I mean, a lot of times it's just something they kind of figure out, how can I make the most money quickly? So they'll just kind of half-ass an article. Like, for example, they try to go after this guy, Dorian Nakamoto. He's an unemployed engineer with no background in cryptography, and they just go after him and they make it out like he's like Satoshi.
That's crazy.
And like this guy is just some poor dude, and now he's all over Newsweek, and it's like,
well, he's become an internet meme.
Yeah, it's now a meme.
Yeah.
Their mistake was so blown out of proportion that the internet had to permanently like turn him into a meme that people now pass around because
right. And it was
that bad.
Even if they do catch the real Satoshi, like, what are they going to do? It's already out in the wild. Like, they can't, like, what's the secret password so we can stop this? It's not like some sort of Batman movie.
It is funny. It is funny. So let me ask you, Jake, what are your thoughts on this kind of stuff, like to not listen to the mainstream media on Bitcoin? Jake, you there? Oh, he might be bad. He says he's lagging out bad at the moment. Okay, yeah, we can skip him for this round. Okay, so yeah, so that's fine. So obviously, I think we all agree on that kind of stuff.
I want to point out one more thing about just how horribly inaccurate the news can be. So you guys remember a while ago there was a spill in like the Gulf Coast, like some sort of like the BP oil spill. It was kind of big in like 2009. Well, anyways, these tar balls start showing up on the beach. And I forget which major news media it was, but one of them was like, it's definitely not from this oil spill. Tar balls on the beach after a Gulf oil spill, and like they're just blatantly lying to people. That's what they do. They just blatantly lie when it's in their best interest, because obviously they get money from other people. So, and that's part of their problem is what they'll do is they'll weave truth in with the lies, because they know if they just lie all the time, everyone's gonna check out.
Yeah, you bet. You can't do a blatant lie, right? You have to sprinkle some truth in there if you want people to come back.
No, I'm saying like probably maybe 40% of the time it's blatant lies, and then the other 60% of the time it's like truths that no one cares about. Like, oh, someone got in a car accident, big fucking deal. That happens all the time. Right. So that's what they do. Yeah. For sure.
Yep, it's sad, and the sad state what the media is in right now, and this is why people are cutting the cord, disconnecting, going to sites like YouTube and Blab, and finding their information that way. Because I know I cut the cord many years ago, and I saved something like $20,000-$30,000 in the process over the last 7-8 years of not having cable, and pretty much kind of unplugged from the mainstream media, and to do that is such a good idea in this day and age, because the mainstream media at this point is so saturated with propaganda and mind control that it's just ridiculous. I can't even watch a normal commercial anymore. I can't even watch a normal TV show, because the 75% of the commercials is only 4 categories. Either a pill or a car or or an alcoholic beverage. That's pretty much, or an insurance company. Those are the top. Those are only people that have money to advertise anymore. So absolutely ridiculous. Hey, DJ or DK, how you doing, man?
How you doing, Vortex? Just been listening to this conversation for about 5 minutes. I'm curious to know as to how much of your savings you put in Bitcoin, and why specifically I shouldn't put my savings in Bitcoin.
Well, sure. So I mean, maybe we can all go around and just kind of like, if it's okay with you guys, just kind of say what percentage you guys are into Bitcoin. But basically for me, I recommend people put in for sure between 1% and 3% of their portfolio, because obviously you don't want to just have Bitcoin, right? You want to have a couple other cryptocurrencies, want to have gold, silver, and so on. So for sure, I would say to put minimum 1% into Bitcoin, and at 5 years from now, I'm going to say minimum 10%. But right now, minimum 1% if Bitcoin continues to succeed. And me personally, I mean, I'm definitely pretty heavily invested into Bitcoin. I'm probably 90% of my equity, of my everything is in Bitcoin. So, because I'm a strong believer in the currency and the technology behind it. But again, if Bitcoin fails, I'm all right. I'll just put it into something else, or I'm okay with the loss because I really want the technology to succeed. But DK, you want to say something?
Yes. How long have you had your 90%?
Yeah, it wasn't all at once. Obviously, I've definitely divested my fiat over the years. So it was like over the course of like 3 years. Slowly divested my savings from fiat into Bitcoin. And that, again, was just learning more about Bitcoin, learning more about the dollar, learning more about history, economics, and all that good stuff. Really just kept pushing my money out of fiat. And I think a lot of people in Bitcoin are the same. As they continue to learn more about Bitcoin and can continue to learn to see that it's still working, continue to see that it's still going, and pushing those hash rates like crazy, securing the network, more people are trusting it. And that's what really builds trust is time being around, which is why it's really hard to circum Bitcoin's network effects. It's the sheer amount of time that the network has been securely hashing things is far more than any other coin.
I'll jump in next, and that's Art Gallery. You want to go?
Well, my answer is just going to confuse you all because I've just given away all of my Bitcoin.
Okay,
well, that's and friends and strangers. So I'm not.
That's not confusing at all. That's awesome.
Bitcoin holders, because I was like, there's no point in me being a giant Bitcoin holder when it's the people I have around me that I care about that I wanted to benefit.
For sure.
And I mean, at these prices that it's at right now, I can always just buy a bunch randomly if I wanted to. If I thought it was going up a lot, but then the idea that it makes sense over a really long period of time to have it holding it like that, but we aren't even at the second halving yet, right?
Yeah, very early days. I like to think of it as internet circa 1994.
So I'll probably buy some right before the second halving, and I'll see what happens, and it goes up, it goes down. I'll probably still give away a bunch. Yeah.
It's the best way to get people into Bitcoin, man, is to give Bitcoin away.
Well, yeah, because
Bitcoin Gallery is a philanthropist.
They have to experience it themselves. Otherwise, It doesn't work.
So do you guys have like an offline computer?
Well, you didn't let me talk about how much I've invested.
Yeah, sorry. Let William speak. Go ahead, William. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I actually, I'm a little bit more different than these guys. I'm not necessarily a Bitcoin buyer. I'm more into Bitcoin creation, right? Like I like the idea, like I can like turn electricity into profit, right? That's fucking cool. So I dropped about 600 on a machine to mine an altcoin. I'm not going to say which one because you guys are probably going to be like, oh, I'm not trying to prop up any coins, but
that's good for you, man. Good for you.
Yeah, I just I mine an altcoin. That's kind of my passion. But obviously the altcoins are all tied in with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes up in price, all the altcoins go up in proportion to their hashing difficulty. So
how's the mining been coming along?
What?
How has the mining been coming along so far?
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass to set up. I'm not gonna lie.
That's the fun.
Right? That is the fun.
Yeah, no, it's setting it up is like the bar, right? Like you have to clear the hurdle in order to make it to the promised land. And so setting it up isn't fun, but once you've got it set up, it's pretty much on autopilot. And then at that point, your only real question is, well, when do I decommission and when do I cash out, right? When do I cash out my...
I should do a correction to mine, actually.
Okay, did you have any other questions?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Are you in a cloud? Do you mine in a cloud? Electricity hacker, do you mine in a cloud? Wait, is this why you're named Electricity Hacker?
No, that's not why. But I don't mine in the cloud. I mine locally.
Yeah, don't mine in the cloud. That's a crapshoot right now.
Yeah, I don't know about that cloud stuff. I like to see, and you don't have good visibility in the cloud.
Exactly.
So,
I should answer. I should make a correction. I do have a Bitcoin that is just sitting there in my account because it's like the first one I ever mined. But I don't ever plan on selling it, so I can't really say it's part of my savings.
Well, 10 years from now, maybe when it's
no, not
$50,000.
No, not the one I mined.
Okay.
You
Cool.
don't understand
That's good.
what I went through to mine a Bitcoin.
Okay, see, that's it. That's awesome.
I didn't get in early. I got in late. It
Yeah.
was a lot of work.
For sure.
sentimental value. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. DK, did you have any other questions, or can we move on to the next topic?
Oh, one last thing about
Sure.
mining. A good friend of mine actually recently told me he is looking at purchasing some miners, and at his current estimate, he estimates like a 7-month break-even point. So,
Yeah, that's about right.
He's got electricity. His electricity is super cheap, but that's just FYI. You can break even and then start turning profit with these things.
You can, if you invest a pretty penny, right? Like, I mean, you got to be investing over 1,000.
I wouldn't tell any casual person to get in on the mining side.
Yeah.
No, I mean on the casual, yeah, no.
Okay.
Like if you just want to benefit from Bitcoin, get some Bitcoin, give your family some Bitcoin or whatever, do not get in the mining thing because it is competitive and a lot of work.
Yep, and you got to really be into it for the love, for the hobby, for the hobby of it. So.
Is that true though, or is that just some word that's been passed around? Is it?
No,
really
I mean it's a fucking pain in the ass.
It's not easy.
It takes like a week to
all
set
the
it
tools.
all up.
Yeah, and all the tools are command line based. This stuff is early days, man. It's like working with DOS. Like this is all the tools are very early.
You'll never learn more about the entire network.
Actually, no, that's not true. Well, I was going to say you can make more money probably making software to make it easier for people to mine, but
Yeah, I mean,
you can. Yeah,
you can. I mean, there's a long way to go.
I don't know. Yeah,
it's mostly custom in-house now with the big server farms and such. But
this is a good thing, though, right? It's a good thing. Hard to mine new coins.
Oh yeah, that's what helps secure the coin, the network, and the currency. Yep.
But definitely, here's the thing. Like on the one hand, I'm like, man, the value is going to drop on Bitcoin, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, wait a minute, they're about to do a halving. So it's like, is it going to go up or down? Like, I don't know.
Well, I think.
But like long term, like 10 years from now, oh yeah. But like the next 2 years are just all up in the air. But like 10 years from now, people are going to be like, man, I should have gotten in 2016.
Well, yeah, exactly. No, they're going to do that for sure. But you have to understand too that the price must go up with the hash rate at some point, right? Because the miners have to make a profit. So it is going to go up every year, even if it goes up, even if it literally pretty much goes sideways for the entire year almost. You saw with last year, it still went up at the end of the year. It still has to go up at some point. So
the price?
The price.
So I disagree with you.
I'm saying the price is kind of correlated with the hash rate because over time as the hash rate gets higher the price has to go up unless the hash rate goes down, right? Then that's all right.
But look, it doesn't need to go up. I don't know why people are so obsessed with the price going up.
It doesn't need to go up.
It doesn't have to go up significantly or anything, just over time.
Well, right, but if it just sits there and is as volatile as it is right now, just moving along at that speed for 10 years.
At its current price though?
At its current price. There's no problem with that. Okay. It's still going to perform a function in the world that was not being performed before.
For sure.
It's gonna threaten established systems. It's gonna make people question things. The price could go down. The price could go to $10. It doesn't mean it's not a success.
Sure, but we
actually, here's the thing. If it does hit $10, look, everyone, if it hits $10 and you think it's shit, buy it up as much as you can right there.
Well, let me say this.
It's $10. It's worthless. Buy the shit out of it.
Let me say this, guys.
Like a lot of money when it goes back up.
Though Bitcoin Art Gallery has a point, like for sure, it's doing great things in the world, just existing right as it is now. But I think that for sure, if it's going to fulfill its full potential and really change the world, it's really going to have to go up in price. And as it goes up, and that's perfectly natural for it. That's what it's designed to do. So it's perfectly natural to go up, and we want to see it go up. But I really think that the hash rate, for example, like you said, Bitcoin Art Gallery, if the hash rate was crazy in 10 years.
You can call me Dustin, man.
Oh, Dustin,
my handle's a pain.
Dustin, yeah, it is really is.
Yeah.
So Dustin, you know, I'm saying, Dustin, like if the hash rate is some craziness in 10 years and the price hasn't gone up, then you know people aren't going to mine it, right? The mining is going to drop off because there's not enough profit. But
then the formula readjusts, and then suddenly it's profitable for us to mine at home again.
Exactly.
At which case we all start mining at home, and then someone centralizes it, and it goes up, and the price goes up. But then
we definitely, for sure, we definitely understand that it is going to ebb and flow, right? But it is always going to reach an equilibrium. But I do think that with the amount of tools and stuff, the amount of work that's going into it, it's got no choice but to go up with the amount of people and the amount of work that's going into it. But you know, we can get into that another day. It's definitely going to change the world whether it goes up or not, for sure. So
I think we definitely haven't seen its final form yet. You know?
Yeah. Very early days. Its final form. That's right. It's got to transform to Form 2, then Form 3, then Form 4, and they get beaten really easily.
I feel like we're in Form 2 right now. There's probably like 8 forms.
Super Saiyan 2?
Yeah, we're in Super Saiyan. No, like we're in Super Saiyan mode. We used to be just like regular. Now we're in Super Saiyan.
When do you think would be a good time to get into Bitcoin? When should I purchase it?
Oh, well, you can never be too late, never be too soon. I mean, you want to get into Bitcoin as soon as possible. Always.
But I don't think that you like.
Don't
won't
take
be late
all
for
your
the next
money
year.
and just stick it in Bitcoin randomly on one day and be like, there, I'm in Bitcoin.
Dustin, we recommended him get only 1% tops, 1 to 3% of your portfolio, of your total portfolio. But definitely don't wait. Right now actually is a damn decent price. But I can tell you this, I don't think we're going to see it under 500 after 2016. Certainly not after 2017. So there's just no better time to ever get into Bitcoin than right now, because it's got such a huge up potential.
So Vortex. So if what you're saying, Vortex, is true, then what BGA is saying is not true, because he's saying don't put all your shit in Bitcoin.
Oh yeah, no, we're both agreeing, right? We're both saying, I'm not saying don't put 100%. We're saying put 1% tops, right? 1 to 3% of your total portfolio.
Yeah, and I feel like if you're going to do any sort of heavy investing, maybe look into doing some sort of services with Bitcoin as opposed to directly mining or directly buying. You can also, if you go like a sidestep and you start figuring out ways to meet demand in the industry, you can make a pretty penny that way.
Oh yeah,
innovation makes money.
Yeah, it's early days, so there's a lot of things. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit that you can go out and build actually tools for and build software development for. But yeah, if you're just going to talk about buying an investment, sorry, go ahead, Dustin.
Put the little widget on your phone. Find a widget on the phone that displays the daily price, right?
Yeah.
And then you watch that for like a month, and then you do your own, like, look at this. It's wobbling up and down in this range. I'll put $10 in here. That looks good. You do not buy in a panic.
Yeah.
Do not sell in a panic, because that is a very powerful feeling.
For sure.
It starts shooting up, and you're
No, I totally disagree. Sell in a panic every time. If there's a panic and the money's dropping, sell. But don't buy in a panic, because if you think, oh, it's going up, like maybe it won't.
Well, I can tell you what a lot of people do.
Don't buy when he's panicking.
Yeah.
Right? Not this. Yeah, you're right.
But I was actually I was in college one time, and I was talking with one of my friends who said, he his uncle like had a whole bunch of money in stocks, which is totally different than Bitcoin. But he was panicking, and he decided to sleep it over for one night, and then he woke up the next morning like it was worthless.
Yeah.
So
for sure, it's crazy stuff like that.
But do the opposite of what everyone else thinks, right? If it's going up, like sell, and then if it's going down, buy.
Let me just say this.
That's good advice. Do the opposite of what people like us say in the thing, because if you're watching us and you're like, oh, they're saying buy now, I'll buy, I'll watch, I'll see what's going on, because there's going to be a lot of shows and media, and the more you learn about Bitcoin, people will be saying buy when they want you to buy and stuff like that.
Well, let me just say this, guys. Let me end this part with this question with this. First, here's what a lot of people do, and it's been successful with. Dollar cost averaging, right? Just set it on a weekly buy to automatically buy $100 to $200 worth, or whatever you have in your whatever you can do, and just leave it go. Just let it go. It's gonna buy if it's low. It's gonna buy when it's high. Either way, you're in early enough to be able to still make some profit later on, because Bitcoin does have a huge upside potential if it succeeds and if it fulfills its potential. So Just a lot of people just do what they do, man. Set the auto buy every week.
Yeah, long term. Yeah. I'm targeting probably 10 years.
Yeah,
10 years, you know, like look at the 10-year future.
Yeah, most
Don't
people
look at the year from now or 2 years from now.
Most people get Bitcoin have a 3 to 5 outlook, but for sure 10 years by 10 years it could be the world currency. So
if you go on Coinbase, you can set up a daily buy for a tiny amount, or a weekly buy or monthly buy, however you like it, and then just forget about it.
Yeah.
So what kind of for storing them? I am not based in the U.S. Does that matter?
Coinbase is in a lot of countries now.
Circle
and there's
too.
a lot of exchanges that have a similar function.
Yep, Coinbase and Circle.
Yeah.
You can just Google, just go ahead and check it out. Google Bitcoin exchanges in your country, and if there's not one, it's pretty surprising. There's usually something.
What would be an anonymous way of buying them?
The only anonymous exchange right now is BTC-E, BTC-E.com. But buyer beware, of course. I mean, you're talking about an anonymous exchange. Your money could be gone tomorrow, so you gotta be okay with that.
Sure.
If you're transacting. But also, of course, there's localbitcoins.com. You can find somebody to buy Bitcoins off directly, anonymously. But let me see. So we can let's move on to the next topic here. We only got about 15 minutes left or so. So let's see here. Move on to the next article here. So this one is called Europol, no confirmed evidence linking Islamic State to Bitcoin. So I wanted to see what your guys' thoughts are on this, because basically this, already confirmed what we thought. I mean, that for sure, like the France stuff and things like that they weren't actually using cryptocurrencies, but using that as a false flag to, excuse me, to try to attack. Somebody's got their speakers on. I'm getting feedback.
Is that me?
It might be DK.
Yeah, DK, it's definitely you.
Yeah.
Just by the way, guys, DK is known as the Blob Killer because he just ruins things. No, I'm just kidding.
No, he's fine. He's fine. No, for sure. So, but yeah, so on this article, DK, yeah, you got yourself muted. Cool. So on this article, for sure, this kind of really proves what we in the community already knew, that this was going to be we were going to have a false flag on cryptography, a false flag on Bitcoin, and this is definitely France was probably one of those first ones. So I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on this, on this particular article, on them finding no evidence, and really just kind of this stuff in general. Dustin, go ahead. You can go first.
The UK banks came out with a list of what are the main risk areas associated with Bitcoin, or associated with terrorism, funding terrorism, and the number one source of funding was the banks, by such a great degree that the other ones were far less points on their little chart or whatever. Talking about terrorists using Bitcoin is fear mongering at this point, because you have to provide evidence that they would be using that. I mean, sure, but we've seen so many people spoofing the thing, saying, oh look, here's a source of news of terrorists using Bitcoin, and it's like the 1 in 1,000 times that they used dollars. So it's not even if they are using it, and that is bad, and I don't want them to be using it, but even if they are using it, it is 1,000th of a fraction of what they are normally using, and their primary currency is dollars, and they're using dollars, and I don't see why we're not having a full round discussion on we need to close all terrorist funding sources, because that would imply closing, I guess, a lot of banks, okay, because they would be the number one funding source for the terrorists.
Yep.
And the instability that the world banks cause as an instigator for terrorism by their monetary policies. I mean, you can't discount it, though. It's important. That's exactly why the government needs to look into it and learn about it, because we don't want them to be using it. At least the thing here is Bitcoin is traceable. Okay, it's not traceable. People are confused by that.
It's pseudo-anonymous.
Pseudo-anonymous, right? Pseudo-anonymous. So this is a tool that the government can use to track stuff, right? And the
whoa! Wait a minute. I know that there's a lot of drug dealing. There's a lot of really illicit activities that you can do with Bitcoin. So to be like, oh, it's totally not traceable, or it's totally traceable. I mean, there's a public ledger, but I mean, unless you're doing something to get on their radar to begin with, you're not going to get on the radar. And the interesting thing is, like, how would they know? That's the point.
They need to have those organizations under their radar.
Yeah.
So that when they see a transaction, they can follow the transaction to the people who did the transaction. You couldn't follow a cash transaction. Okay, you can't. If they did a cash transaction, you have no ability to follow it. This way, if you penetrate and you find one of them with one wallet, right, you can see where it went, how it came through, find out their level of sophistication and their technical competency level, right? And things like a lot of the Bitcoin services are willing to shut down their access to certain people or ban certain people based on evidence that they are cooperating with these sort of people, because they don't want that, right? So you can flag like if there was a big wallet or something or an exchange that was moving things, you can flag it in the community, and the community will react to that because it threatens them.
Can't flag cash.
I think we're talking about two different things, right? So like with the blockchain, it's not like you have to go through an exchange to send someone currency. So it's not like necessarily like, oh, we've got like a centralized power and authority, and if we think they're fucking up, we can ban them. It's you're talking about you can have your account in the cloud, and then if someone through the cloud decides something, but it's really weird how they would even know.
You have to understand that there's blockchain analysis tools out there, right? And so that they can see all of these transactions happening in real time, and they have they can definitely see some stuff flagged. They can definitely, for example, if I was CIA and stuff, I would definitely be tracking all the outputs and inputs to all of the major exchanges, right? And when you see large, huge transactions going to,
well, that's the funny thing is you can just break it up into smaller amounts. I would imagine there's an algorithm that someone can use and just dump $100 at a time.
For sure, that's what like the mixer services do and stuff. But even then, like it's got to go somewhere before it hits the mixer. And so a lot of times,
those mixers are a scam. If you're like using a mixer, you're right. Some of them probably aren't.
Some of them are like
9 times out of 10, if anyone says they're going to double your bitcoins launder your bitcoins.
Well, obviously, yeah, of course. I'm just talking about literally just exchanging the equivalent of money laundering, basically, right? Just exchanging your coins for other coins.
So, that's like with the cryptography, you really don't need your bitcoins laundered. Like that's
no, of course. I mean, no, but again, if you're doing bad things, that's what you want to do. I mean, because
that's just like playing on the ignorance of like a bad criminal, because like it's already cryptographically hashed. So it's not like all you have to do, and I'm not condoning bad behavior, but just break it up into small amounts. But even big amounts, they can't trace it. I mean, unless they have to physically hack your computer or from the ISP.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, remember, the blockchain analysis is just the first step, right? Like how they caught the Silk Road guy. Obviously, they had to catch him physically in order to. But they started with the analysis of the blockchain. So they got to start somewhere. They can start there. Where with cash,
Wait. Go back. This sounds like propaganda. They caught someone through analysis of transaction.
No. I said that was the first step, right? That's the first step that you do when you're searching criminal organizations with Bitcoin, is you do blockchain analysis. You actually check out the ins and outs of all of the major exchanges and things like that. There are blockchain analysis tools to do this. That's just the first step. That's not the end all be all, right? That's not going to catch any criminals by itself.
Different. My opinion of the first step would be you grow to a size that's so large, maybe like 30,000 users, and then someone goes and tells one of their friends whose dad happens to be a cop, and it's like, wait a minute, people are selling drugs on the internet? Let me call my friends at the Department of, like the Drug Enforcement Agency.
Right.
And then they go to the website, they check it out, and they just use a ton of Google. Like, I don't know about all this, like, analyzing the blockchain. Like, maybe eventually.
Well, I can tell you, yeah. I mean, right now, obviously, it's more difficult. It will grow easier with time, the analysis. But hey,
I don't know if that's true.
Well, we'll see. But hey, Ryan, let me welcome Ryan to the show. How you doing, Ryan?
Good. Yourself?
Good, pretty good. Thanks for joining us, man. We're just here talking Bitcoin, talking about this about this topic. Let me get the title. We're talking about how your pool confirmed.
Okay, have you guys heard about the release of Zero Coin?
Yeah, that's been just released. And again, that's part of the effort, to make Bitcoin completely anonymous. And I think that there's going to be a place for anonymous Bitcoin, for pseudo-anonymous Bitcoin, and then for not anonymous Bitcoin. I think that there's going to be places for all that. The beautiful thing about Bitcoin is that it gives us the choice.
You can always transfer Bitcoins to Zero Coins.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So that's the beautiful thing, is that Bitcoin gives you the choice. You see, the dollar doesn't, and other fiat currencies, of course, don't even give you that choice. It's just automatically tracked by default. But with the crypto, of course, we can have a chance to.
This will be the first time that Bitcoin will be completely anonymous.
I'm confused. Zero Coin allows direct anonymous payments between parties. That's what Bitcoin does, yeah?
No, it's still a ledger, and you can still track all the payments.
You can track the payments, but that's, yeah,
there's still a trail. With Zero Coin, there's zero trail.
Yeah, no, Zero Coin, you can look it up, William, for sure. It's definitely more anonymous than Bitcoin by itself.
See, you guys are touching on something I feel is like the foundation of Bitcoin, which is anonymous transfer of money.
You gotta remember,
you guys are kind of like, Bitcoin can't.
It's not anonymous.
Once I track one of your addresses, I completely know all your transactions.
It's not anonymous, William. That's the whole idea, right?
I mean, unless you're doing like deep packet.
Well, you make one mistake and you transfer to a Bitcoin exchange.
William,
that's it.
If somebody has
there's a public ledger, but it's all hashed.
Just check this out, William. If somebody has a Bitcoin address on their page, okay, I can go look up that Bitcoin address in the freaking blockchain info and find out.
That's the person exposing their own information. That's
right,
different.
but I'm just
that's
letting you know,
voluntary
right?
exposure of your information.
Right.
Well, the point is,
it's like saying my phone number is not anonymous, but it is unless I give it to you or
you make one little tiny mistake in Bitcoin and it's no longer pseudonymous. It's no longer anonymous. But anyway, we're going to move on because William, it's widely understood and discussed that Bitcoin is pseudonymous. So that's what
pseudo-anonymous. I agree with that. Okay.
That's what I understand. That's what I believe, and that's what everybody. So anyway, next topic. So I think we killed that topic pretty much to death. Pretty much. No, unless Brian, you have anything to say on that article? That Europol finding no confirmed evidence linking Islamic State to Bitcoin.
I feel like Bitcoin's too sophisticated for them.
Well, right now, it's exactly. See, right now, it's freaking hard to use.
If you go on the darknet, you can see places where you can go and donate to ISIS.
Again,
I'm sure there's been a Bitcoin
some dude who's like a neck
sounds like a
who's
honeypot.
like, yes, donate to ISIS, and he's just ordering pizza with it.
It sounds like a CIA honeypot to me, but
it sounds like some guy trying to get pizza money from some misanthrope.
For sure. So is anybody reading the chat? Not a whole lot because we have to go right now. So I needed to make this show a short one tonight. I only wanted to make it an hour. Usually I go for like 2 or 3 hours, but tonight I got my folks in town, so I'm gonna have to cut it short tonight, guys. So I definitely appreciate everybody in the chat room and everybody asking questions and you guys coming in. And Ryan, I'm sorry we didn't get to have you for longer, but definitely check us out next time, man. We're here every Monday 8 p.m. We're more happy.
Just power through the next 5 minutes and hit all the links.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can definitely, anybody can go ahead and check it out. It's I'll be posting the links to the show notes and on the YouTube video as well. So the links that we didn't get to, they'll definitely be in the show notes. So you guys can check those out. And there's always going to be, we're always going to be talking Bitcoin. There's always going to be more news to talk about. So we'll definitely get to see you guys next week. So before we go, let me just thank my guests again one more time. Thanks guys for joining us, Dustin and Ryan and William and everybody else who joined us. So real quick, Dustin, where can we find you?
BTC Art Gallery. I got a website. I got a Twitter. I got Tumblr things. I aggregate all the Bitcoin art.
I'm just gonna
Awesome.
power through these really quick. So digital assets, 50 million funding, blow to Bitcoin VCs weigh in, right? Is Bitcoin undervalued? Doubt it. Then reports cautions against building blockchain hype. I don't know what that's about. Microsoft is trying to add some nodes to the Bitcoin network. And cannabis security firm goes to Bitcoin to solve industry's banking problem.
That's right. I recommended last time on, or maybe it was a show before that all, medical marijuana places definitely need to get into Bitcoin at some point, because it's going to make their lives a lot easier and a lot safer, because we know that the traditional banking system is not going to do them any favors, and more than likely not even give them an account at all, forcing them to, just deal in cash. And so that's always very dangerous. So definitely anybody running in cannabis shops, check out Bitcoin. You're going to like it. Ryan William, where can we find you, man?
Here, I guess. I don't know. I don't have a website.
You have a Twitter account?
Yeah.
What is that?
I'm not really big on Twitter though, so even if you look for me there, you probably won't find me.
Okay, well, you can definitely catch William
at Rhodes, which is RHOADES, William, the number 1 at gmail.com.
And also, you can definitely catch him here every Monday. He's usually joining us, giving us his time. We totally appreciate it. Thanks again, William. Ryan, where can we find you, man?
Pretty much the same as William.
At Ryan Fishman?
Yeah.
On Twitter. All right, cool, man. Well, thanks, guys, for joining us. I had a great time. Another great show. We're going to be back here again next Monday at 8 p.m. We're going to be uploading this up to the World Crypto Network YouTube channel. You can also find us in the World Crypto Network Slack chat. We're always in there talking Bitcoin and preparing for shows and stuff like that. And again, if you guys get a chance, please check out the saveellis.org, Chris Ellis crowdfund, and hopefully we can get some money dedicated to him. So, guys, until next time.
You guys can also text me, 469-667-1281.
Giving out his phone number. Okay. Live on the air. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for joining us, and we'll see you next week to talk Bitcoin. See you guys later. Bye-bye.
Oh. So is it still recording?